Hi, welcome to Haunt Review. As you can tell, we're not filming in our night vision today because it was extremely late when we got to our hotel last night. So we're doing our review the day after. Last night we attended Sloss Furnace in Birmingham, Alabama. Sloss Furnace has two separate haunted attractions. One is a walking trail in the woods and one is the actual haunt through Sloss Furnace.
Walking trail in the woods we went through first. We got there, we got our tickets, and we go into this thing that looked like a midway. Now, normally when you think of a midway, you think of rides, games, fairs. Well, it was a midway more like a food court type deal with food.
Souvenirs, a psychic. At the end of the midway there is a movie screen where they're showing movies. And just a general heads up to anyone considering going, there is excuse me, there is alcohol permitted, there is smoking permitted, and the ground in almost every piece of location that you go to is uneven in some way. So be careful how you walk, and if you do not wish to be around the alcohol or the smoke, don't go.
It's like going to a rock concert.
Yeah, okay. So the first thing you need to know is they sell a combo ticket. The ticket price for just Sloss Furnace is about $16. The combo ticket is $20. So that's only $4 more for the trail. Now, here comes the harshness of it all. Is the trail that we experienced was not worth our $4.
Well, the thing about it was what happened. They grouped us in about a group of about 20.
Which is too large of a group to send through any haunted attraction.
And aside from that, the group behind us actually caught up to us, so we were grouped in a group of about 40.
But the only reason they caught up with us is because we had somebody in our group who obviously didn't care about anybody else, because you know you're not supposed to take your cell phone out when you go through dark rooms. The idea is for it to be dark, and she's taking her cell phone out trying to see, so she drops it. Loses her battery out of it, there's a whole chaos. If it hadn't been for her, it might have been a little bit better, but we never saw any scares.
Well, my biggest issue with it...
We might have seen, what, 5 characters?
5 characters, but they were running, just kind of there, hanging out by the time we got to them.
Yeah, between everything, there might have been 5. Okay.
And the thing about it was, somebody should have told her, one of the characters should have went up to her and told her to put her phone away and just took care of it for us, but no. They were just stuck. Yeah,
it was a very unpleasant experience. It was a way to kill time while we waited for our letter to be called to get into our groups for Sloss Furnace, but it just simply was not worth the money.
So then, once we got out of there and disappointed, kind of scratching our heads, wondering what we just went through, we were standing around waiting for our letter to be called. Watching a movie. We were watching Resident Evil, I'm pretty sure that was part 3. And, you know, they got this big movie screen and, you know, it's like everybody that walks up to you, around you, everybody's just standing there. But you got people that are smoking that comes up to you, and if you've got allergies, you're there. You're just kind of there with them.
Yeah, but even when you move away from them, the next time you turn around, somebody near you is going to light up anyway. You can't escape it. So it's just a simple fact that you cannot get away from it there.
So they finally called our letter, and we're thinking, okay, they called the letters so you won't have to stand in line. And the next thing we're knowing, we're standing in a line.
They called the letter to put you in line. Okay.
So we're standing there in line, and the line's moving pretty quick. But then we find out why. Because they're putting like 20 or 30 folks in at a time.
Now normally we do say that's too much. But let's just say for Sloss Furnace, they at least knew what to do once you got inside. Your group does break into smaller parts, not by choice and not by design necessarily, but pretty much it's essential the way that they do things. It happens.
once they start jumping out, the groups separate because you've got some people that are okay with being scared and moving forward, the other people that are being scared and kind of just sticking back, so you're having gaps in between, which actually worked for us. We enjoyed that part.
We were trying to walk through with a group of ladies that were behind us, and someone got one of the characters got in between us to scare them, and we had kept moving, so it literally separated our group.
It was a great group of girls. They were arm in arm, all 3 wide. It was
They
funny.
were wonderful. But back to the haunt. They really don't have to spend a lot of time and money on theming at Sloss Furnace because they do use the furnace itself as a theme. So that helps them for about the first half. The second half they actually did take a larger space and put up partition walls and design a haunt within it. A lot of times you see behind the scenes. You see things that you wouldn't normally see in a haunt. But for some reason in this location, the way that it's done, it does not detract from the experience at all.
I thought the fact that in the furnace part, they were coming out from the floor, they were coming out from the ceiling, they were coming out from everywhere, and they had stuff set up that you look at and it distracts from the scare. It's something to look at, and they're scaring you from behind, and it works out really well. I really enjoyed that part. And then once you get into the actual haunted house part of it, it's kind of like it's rooms that they threw together and you're walking through and you're seeing stuff happen, and it's okay, it's not themed like the furnace part is.
Oh, until you get to 3D.
They have a box, a person sitting there with a box of the 3D glasses and handed them out, and then the 3D is done very, very well.
Their artists for 3D were incredible.
Probably the best 3D I've seen.
Yeah.
So
We just, if we ever have one suggestion for them, is that they have a few characters in the 3D section. Maybe use some of their paints for the 3D on the characters' masks or gloves or costumes in some way, because when a flat-toned dark hand comes out in front of your face in a 3D, you don't really get that effect as much. Because I had one whose hand came out at me, and if there had been some of that glow paint, the glow-in-the-dark paint that would be fluorescent in that atmosphere on his hand, on his glove, then it would have had more of an impact because it would have been more three-dimensional. But as a flat black in a dark environment, it didn't do anything for me.
and once you come out of the haunt, you have a gift shop.
There's always a gift shop. It's like Disney. Everything ends in a gift shop.
And this particular gift shop had stuff like shirts, coffee mugs, shot glasses, light toys. So you had a pretty wide variety of selection there.
And pretty reasonably priced too.
Yeah, pretty reasonable.
I mean, for everything that we did for Sloss Furnace, we spent $20 on the combo ticket each, and made, I think, $28 on souvenirs. And that was an oversized shirt and a shot glass. And the shot glass was only $4, which if you're a collector of them for different events you go to, that works out really well for $4.
So overall, I guess we're going to do the separate trails first.
We've got to break them apart because it's just not fair otherwise.
I've got to give 0 severed heads for the outside trail because it was just pitiful.
Yeah,
How about you?
we've ranked some stuff pretty low before, but yeah, that was bad. That was non-existent and a waste of time.
I do have to say, I think it was because it was such a large group. Everything that happened before we actually got there. If there was anything that happened, I mean, we saw people.
Yeah, but I mean, out of all that space and all that walking to get to where we're going and nothing be happening that we saw.
Even that we saw, yeah. It was kind of
5 people
worthless.
in an entire trip, no.
It wasn't worthless. But anyway, if you go, make sure you go to the furnace because the furnace was awesome.
Yeah.
I would give the furnace a 4 severed heads out of 5.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in the same line. I actually thought it was a little bit better than that. I was thinking that the furnace itself was about a 4.5 severed heads. So that, you know, it's worth your time. It's worth your money. It's reasonably priced. Oh, and don't forget that there is a parking charge. We paid $3 to park, but we noticed as we were leaving, the back side of the sign has a $5 one on it. So It may vary depending on capacity, things that are going on, special events. There's a stage for a band. So, you know, $3 to $5 for parking plus your admission. Save your $4 and your time. Sit down and watch the movie. Don't bother with the trail unless they figure something out with that. So we're looking at 0 severed heads on the trail and 4 to 4.5 severed heads for the actual Sloss Furnace haunt.
Overall event?
Well, see, that's the thing. The environment for me with the smoking and the drinking, which the drinking doesn't bother me too badly unless they're acting like fools with their cell phones out and the haunt and it's not being dealt with. That experience along with the trail kind of bring down the score for Sloss Furnace itself, because I would love to give the experience a 4, but I can't. I can't because of those two things, that it just detracted. So I have to go down to a 3.5, and I hate that. When I do the math of it, that's where I'm ending up. I'm ending up around a 3 or 3.5 because you've got that trail that's pointless. You've got the atmosphere where you can't escape the smoke, especially if you have allergies. You can't go through in a small enough group. And some of the theming, once you get into the actual haunt part, are lacking.
And with mine, it's the 0 and the 4, so I give 3.5 total. 3.5 severed heads for total.
Yeah, so what we're suggesting is that if you're thinking about going, go to Sloss Furnace. Just don't do the trail, and be prepared for the atmosphere that you're going to be in. There are stairs involved. It's not well lit in spots for that, so it's a little bit dangerous. You have to be wearing your tennis shoes and be thinking about it. I swear to you, we saw a woman in a little black dress and red high heels on an outdoor uneven trail. Some people need to think before they go out to a haunt. Best thing to wear to a haunt, comfortable clothing, including tennis shoes, because you're going to be in places that you would not normally be. So overall, we're sitting around about a 3.5 for Sloss Furnace, though we would love to just pretend that that trail didn't happen and say it was a 4.
And just to let you know, with the beer and the smoking, the drinking and smoking, it's probably not a family event.
Yeah, I mean, for us that wasn't an issue, but if you were thinking it, yeah, no.
Even though we saw families there, it's probably not a good place for them.
No, definitely not.
So, with that said,
time to pack up so we can get on to the next.